Hey everybody, I'm back. I'm sitting at a slightly strange angle because I'm currently doing a foot soak, and I hadn't really planned on doing a reading right now, but as always, the messages come through when they come through, and everything that's happening at the time is sort of relevant in some way for the reading. So, where to start? Uh, the energy has been feeling very push pull, I guess you could say. And it's almost feeling like being pushed back to the beginning of something. Um, like if you've ever played the game Snakes and Ladders, it's like, you can get really far and then just like land on a snake and end up back at a previous spot. Kind of feeling like that's what's up. I know that astrologically we have a lot of retrogrades and shadow of retrogrades kind of starting right now. And retrogrades are about revision and could be about reviewing where you're at, seeing what kind of adjustments you might still need to make. Um, One of the retrogrades is in Mercury, by the way, so communication. As I trip up on my words a bit here. Um, yeah, I was like really hesitating about uh, doing this because I felt like I pulled cards for a couple of things today, and I was like, really? But yeah, that's what's happening, and that whole feeling of like really like that's something that could be coming up for you right now. So, in one of the earlier pulls that I did, this energy came out, Chiron, the wounded healer. You could be asking yourself questions about like why is something that I more or less either already dealt with, or something that I just don't want to think about anymore. Like why is it coming up so strongly right now, and why does it feel like not only just a wound reopen, but like being burned almost? Like you can see it's like this stream of potentially fire being shot out at it. But being shot out from the two fingers that also create the peace sign, which is interesting. Um, and having like a pinkish thing in the palm of the hand here, which pink energy has to do with heart, so does green. So the heart center kind of energy, putting some kind of spotlight on a wound, and not just a spotlight, but a I guess like flamethrower as the spotlight. And that heat, I'm even feeling it literally right now, in this foot soak that I'm currently doing, which was hotter than anticipated. So that could be something that you're feeling as well. I'm gonna read just a little bit from Chiron really quickly, just to give an idea of what's up, because that is one of the overall energies that we're dealing with right now. Chiron, the keywords are wounds, teachings, and paradoxes. Um, Chiron is a cosmic enigma. In Greek mythology, he is said to be the rejected son of Saturn, who, through the pain of abandonment, becomes a great teacher and healer. Such is the paradoxical nature of this minor planet. It demonstrates that our pain is a great resource. It will guide us to our deepest purpose if we are able to observe it slowly, gently, and with support. So the slowly and gently part is coming up here. Could be that maybe we kind of like rushed through part of our healing without realizing we were rushing it. So now we're being asked to revise because, those of us who are on this path, it feels like at this time in particular, or within like recent months, let's say at least since the beginning of 2025, like end of 2024, you've been called to approach your healing in a way that is stable, long lasting, long term. And that doesn't mean that certain things will never come up again, but that they won't like derail you in the ways that they may have previously. Let me just grab a bit of water. Yeah, so let's get into what this Chiron energy is a bit about. It's requiring grounding, a lot of grounding. Like it would be very easy to get carried away and feel like you've lost your progress right now. And the progress may have like slowed or may require you to kind of go back on a certain step or look at it from a different perspective, but your whole train of progress has not derailed. That's what I'm hearing at the moment. And the stone that I had on this deck, which is the Tarot of the Holy Spectrum Infinity Edition, is Spessartine Garnet, if you want look that up. Okay. My throat is super dry out of nowhere. So, okay, let's call in some protective energies. Heavenly Father, Mother Earth, Deity of Time, angels, ancestors, divine guides, we thank you for your care. We thank you for your gentle approach, for your balanced approach, sometimes gentle, sometimes not, in providing us with the information that we need for our greatest good at this time, the information that the collective needs for their greatest good at this time. Another thing that's coming up a lot is distractions. Like I'm in the middle of doing chores right now. I would normally never do a reading while I have like the washing machine on at an hour when there's like a lot of traffic passing by. There's just a lot happening. And that could be what's going on for you too now. You could feel that like a prior sense of peace has been interrupted by just a lot happening, and you're not even sure what triggered it or where it came from. But as I've spoken about, you might want to go check out the previous two readings about Cancer season. They're both kind of related. Yeah, about what's being brought up this Cancer season. Because, yeah, that is about going into the hidden depths of the subconscious and kind of seeing what is still there that needs to be addressed, or what's wanting to be addressed for a first time, because maybe we addressed it in a way that was either superficial or like adjacent to, or didn't really get to the root of the thing, right? So, what do we need to know about Chiron at this time? 10 of Wands. Burdens. Okay. I think that's all that wants to come out from there. Okay, so 10 of Wands really has to do with feeling overburdened by something, carrying more than you can bear, the weight of the world, the weight of the past, the weight of expectations, um, the weight of wanting things to happen in specific ways at specific times. And I think it's interesting here how we're talking about Chiron and this red flame that's like shooting light and fire onto the wound, and how you're just like, this card here is red. It's like you're in the middle of the fire. Okay. And we'll get into the next deck here, which is the Light Seers Tarot. We're going to go to this for some more clarity and advice about the Ten of Wands. And the crystal that I had on it is pink kunzite. So I've got two pink crystals here for heart energy, this for grounding, grounding and sacral, both of these, ruby. These for third eye and crown protection and intuition. Okay. So I'm going to ask angels, ancestors, elevated guides, divine guides, and our higher self as well. And also our elevated warrior guides. Don't really call on those enough, probably, to protect us and guide us with this energy that's feeling kind of burdensome. What can we know in terms of advice related to dealing with this Ten of Wands energy? Yeah, that some of us may be either dealing with or currently in an energy that's like a King of Cups in reverse. But that what happens when we get out of that energy is leading us to the Ten of Pentacles, which is long-term stability, like exactly what was being talked about earlier. So let me get into the guidebook really quickly about that. And while I'm here, because there are affirmations in this guidebook, those are actually what I'm going for more so than the meanings of the cards. But yeah, I'm going to also read the affirmation for the Ten of Wands. Also, tens are energy of completion, of completing cycles. So that's something that is also coming up a lot right now. Things surfacing so that they can be, uprooted for real this time around. So, go with Ten of Wands first. So some of the key elements associated with this are taking on too much, as was mentioned, opportunity to free yourself from a heavy burden, from obligations that you've maybe set for yourself in your mind, as well as those that others and like society has placed on you. Um, Finding yourself closer to a successful outcome, which is this here, Ten of Pentacles. A need to prioritize, and also a message to keep going. That's also something that I was getting, and that was kind of mentioned earlier, where it's like you may have to revise some things, but your train has not derailed, So don't jump off thinking that it's there's something completely wrong with the train if it kind of went backwards, all surprisingly, to a previous station. King of Cups in reverse. Let me just. Okay, the King of Cups upright, follows intuition, remains above water, as in like not drowning in emotions, as was talked about in one of the previous readings. Is very in touch with the heart space. You can see this energy radiating from here. And eyes are closed, so not overly focused on what's going on in the immediate surroundings. But in reverse, this would indicate, overly concerned with what's going on in the immediate surroundings, being overwhelmed, emotionally overwhelmed. Also, potentially losing faith. I'm getting a lot about losing faith. And you can see there's this little crown here on top. And then, like, in reverse, it's like, you know, losing your crown, or like forgetting who you are, forgetting the power that you have. Okay. Yeah. Some of the key things of when this is in shadow or when it's in reverse. Um, it's an opportunity to work with the subconscious mind and dive into self-care. Um, yeah, that makes sense. uh, as I do this foot bath, which as I was saying, is like I don't do this regularly. I probably should do it more regularly, and I will try to. But yeah, it's like I was just chilling, lounging in bed, and I just like popped up like, you need to do a foot bath, and then you need to do a reading. Um, yeah, so this energy here is not properly in touch with emotions. Um, Temperamental. I'm going to say temperamental, not in a way of lashing out at others, but maybe lashing out at yourself. Like all of a sudden, your inner voice, your inner critic may have kind of taken over, whereas you may have been good on that for a little while. Like the inner critic might have taken a back seat or just not been around. And it's almost like you're so used to having it around that you didn't even notice that it wasn't around anymore. So then when it came back, it was able to like slip back in very easily because you never fully acknowledged or congratulated yourself for the time period when it was gone. So again, celebrating your progress, I think, is very important here. And the affirmation for this card, as you try to get back into the upright energy of it, is: my heart holds deep wisdom and love, and I use it to connect and lead. Connect to yourself, connect to others, lead yourself in the direction that you should go as well. Okay. And now here we have the Ten of Pentacles. And the affirmation for that card, which again is one of it's like one of general life success. You know, it's like the happy home, happy family, happy future, um, feeling fulfilled by your, you know, by your physical endeavors as well as your spiritual ones, caring for yourself well. This is a card of like ultimate balance. Yeah, so here it says spiritual and material abundance. And the affirmation is, I am successful and I share my wealth with those I love. So being aware if some sort of like scarcity mindset maybe has like crept back in, remembering that you are successful and that you're able to share that wealth. And that wealth might be spiritual knowledge, that wealth might be emotional support. It's not always material, it's not always physical wealth, like literal money. Energy is currency, and I think the way in the space that the world currently is in, um, energy and consciousness and authenticity is coming to mean more than it has for quite a long time. Like there are just some types of things that money alone cannot fix, you know. And finally, going to get a card from this here, which is the mystical shaman oracle, which I don't believe I've used on the channel yet. So this is great in terms of shadow work, in terms of um, spiritual endeavors, in terms of really looking at what's coming up in a non-material way. Yeah, and the stone that I had charging it is this petrified wood, which is also sometimes a past life stone, but is also ultimately a grounding stone. And I'm going to put it right over here. Interesting. I've never laid out crystals in this direction like this before either. Yeah, so there's a grounding stone on both ends. So, divine guides, angels and ancestors, universal Father, Mother Earth, deity of time. What are some of the closing messages or the closing message that you want us to pay attention to at this time in regard to this reading, in regards to the light or the flame being aimed directly at our wounds, and you know, finding ourselves suddenly in this space of carrying the burden or feeling like we're carrying the burden of all of it. You know, what do we need to do to make sure that we're getting out of the King of Cups in reverse temperamental energy, that we're able to really observe what's in our subconscious, um, not lose sight of the star, keeping in touch with the star, which is our wish fulfillment. Mm, interesting. Okay. So we got Tree of Life in reverse. And in reverse, in this particular deck, you read the medicine, and that is feeling aligned right now because, yeah, it does feel like we're collectively in a space of needing medicine. That's card 58, 5 plus 8, 13, which comes down to 4, which is a card of stability and foundations. A number, excuse me, of stability and foundations. Okay, so the essence of this card, which is what it's about overall. The tree of life is a sacred symbol throughout the Americas. Its deep roots reach into the lower world, the unconscious, while its branches reach to the heavens, the source of destiny. To be whole in your life's journey, it is important to have deep roots and high branches. A tall tree with shallow roots falls in the first wind, but a tree with deep roots can weather any storm. Yeah, that is feeling very relevant right now. Yeah, and we spoke about that a little earlier about returning to your roots, re-examining, um, yeah, the roots of certain wounds that may have, that you may have thought you healed or addressed in some way. New ones that are coming up, new angles, new perspectives of wounds, wounds even being reactivated by some things that are going on right now, whether in your personal life or like things that you're observing around you. Yeah, so the medicine for this card, which I will read right now. What nutrients do you need to add to your soil to grow strong? The seed of the oak will not grow on barren ground or without the light of the sun. What dreams do you want to awaken to create a mindful destiny? Reflect on how you want to blossom, the kind of fruit you want to produce, and where you want to sow your new seeds. Be a conscious creator. Okay? Where you want to sow your new seeds, be a conscious creator. So yeah, I think consciousness, awareness of being aware of when these things are happening, and also knowing that they're not, again, you're not being derailed, you haven't lost all of your progress, just being conscious that these revisions are part of the process and they're helping you to strengthen roots in areas where they may have been a bit more shaky than you realized. Okay? And also in terms of just needing the light of the sun, I'm going to say that even though this Chiron here is shining a light on wounding, there's this one ray of what could be like sunlight kind of immediately above the fire. And then within the fire, there's this bit of gold, which is the knowledge or the clarity and the healing that comes from it. The potential of what you're able to do with it, since Chiron also becomes a teacher, a healer for others. A lot of you may be stepping into that role right now, whether like in a more official, larger capacity or just one-on-one in the interactions that you have daily. And the interactions that you have with yourself, those count, of course. So yes, be mindful of inner critic, kind of tricking you into feeling like you have more mental or emotional burdens to bear than you really do, getting you to be in a space of withdrawal or being like overly dramatic, overly temperamental, like this King of Cups in reverse. Knowing that ultimately what you're going toward is this, both spiritual and material abundance, in the way that you won't be lacking anything that you really need, and that requires you to strengthen your roots periodically, strengthen your roots, re-examine where there may be a need for the strengthening of your roots. Okay, so thank you for joining me for this reading and allowing me to tap in with y'all. Self-care is the word of the day, the word of the moment. Be gentle with yourselves as all of this stuff comes up, and I will talk to you again soon.